This table,
This table,
This table,
the Lord's Supper,
the Last Supper,
the First Supper.
we take the bread and we take the wine and we recall a meal from another time.
where Jesus and his disciples sat, sharing a meal that was looking back.
To a meal shared by slaves in Egypt on the night they were preparing to leave it.
You see, this is about that.
And this was about that.
And this really is way, way back. You see, Israel, God's people, were Egypt's slaves, but the rescuing God was coming to save. Pharaoh refused, but after 10 plagues, caved.
We were remembering all that and eating together, remembering God's faithfulness back then and forever, when Jesus took the wine and the bread and breaking it said, "This is my life laid down for you. This meal is all about what I'm about to do." See, there's tradition here, but also something new. The God who rescued back then was about to do it again.
This wine, the bread, or capsules instead, point beyond themselves to the things Jesus said. They go back to that meal.
Which goes back further still.
To this promise of freedom and the God who'd fulfill every promise he made. So we took a lamb and we put its blood on the door. Then we sat and we ate and we trusted the Lord. The plague passed over, but Egypt, it blew right through her, shaking Pharaoh's heart of stone there. Result was that he let us go. The way we remember is to eat the Passover.
This meal of such import, Jesus took and taught the same and something new about a greater slavery and an even greater rescue, about a new covenant where God would be with us, having dealt with our sin because of his great love. But it didn't all make sense. It didn't quite seem real. We didn't fully understand the meal within the meal.
The disciples didn't know what we see here, that the freedom that he bought would be so dear, that beatings, mockings, a crown of thorns and a bloody cross lay ahead, that the lamb in each story ended up dead, that the cross and the grave was what he meant by what he said, that his actual blood was the meaning in the wine and his broken body, the bread.
We didn't fully get it as we sat and ate that meal, the significance of Jesus' words about to become so real. But there was something about this supper and what it meant back then that was relevant here and now and was about to happen again.
It was God who came to rescue us. The meal recalls that. He came to save us, came to free us, came to get us back. He led us out of Egypt and through the middle of the sea with a strong arm and a mighty hand over every enemy.
Our hope had never dimmed in the God who rescued then. He's the God who had promised to rescue us again, that someone would come, healing brokenness and sin, save us from our enemies. Could this Jesus be him? Is that why he used this meal so rich? This meal so symbolic, so steeped in history? It means
what it meant.
And it means
so much more.
The God who parted the sea has even greater things in store.
Salvation for the whole world, hope for every heart, light that shines no matter how deep the dark. The bread and the wine, the body and the blood are about an
old story,
but
freshly understood.
About the God who freed in Egypt and the God who frees still. Through Jesus' death and resurrection, that this meal proclaims until
one day he'll return again and finish what he began. In one more meal yet to come, the wedding feast of the Lamb.
So we partake and remember. We partake and look forward.
His faithfulness behind us.
Ahead, the coming of the Lord.
There's a table yet before us, but for now we sit right here with
Table 1
and
Table 2,
making Table 3 more clear.